How you guys doing? If you came across this video, you're probably looking up crude oil, just some videos on crude oil, where it's going. I'm making this video August 6, 2018. A little bit about myself. I don't have any experience working for any funds or banks, commodities groups, anything like that. Just recreational trading on the side of a full-time job. I've been into trading crude oil for about 15 years now, and I've lost a lot of money, a lot of money. Just been overly bullish and got my butt kicked a bunch when oil prices collapsed twice from over $100 a barrel and slid down to like $30 a barrel, somewhere around there. I mean, recently it was trading with a two handle on it, and it's not 200, it was in the 20s. So there's these funds that are speculating on the price of oil, and they're causing it to fluctuate to the extreme. It should not move like that at all. It should move, you know, 10, 20, $30, but it shouldn't move from like 130 down to 30. And so, you know, that was a lesson in the realities of the market and the speculators. And what I believe is going to happen, I still have some chalk to take good position here in 2018. What I believe is going to happen is we're going to enter a real bullish long-term cycle, and this is going to be a real cycle. This is going to be a 20 or 30 year bull trend. This is going to be a march to $150 a barrel in 5 years, and then it's going to be a march to $200 to $300 a barrel in around 10 years. So we're looking at about 2030 for prices to be around $300 a barrel. So it's a ways away. It's still a pretty bullish call considering what we've seen in the past. But I think now the days of it flying down to $30 a barrel or $40 a barrel are over forever. And I'm making that call today. We will not see any more plummets down to extreme lows in oil. There's going to be enough factors putting a bottom in the price, and there's about 100 factors that are going to drive it up. Just to touch on a few, you have the financial factors that are going to drive it. These speculators are here, they're players, they're still allowed to play. There was a tremendous amount of outrage about 10 years ago about the speculators and how they were driving up the price. There's nothing really done about that to control them, just like the banks are still giving out crappy loans for houses. There's nothing, there's only so much that was done. These people can still get greedy and make reckless trades. They could still do their pile-ins and their pile-outs like they always have been. And we're about to enter a major pile-in. And you have hedge funds who speculate. You have banks. You have traders who have to perform, and they just use this as a way to make money. You have algorithms. You have technical charts that are going to point in a direction. And all these things become a domino effect. You have people buying for any number of reasons, which causes a price increase, and that causes a bottom, and that causes a higher low, and that causes the funds to pick up that there's a uptrend, and that causes a buy, which causes someone else to break a price target, which is a breakthrough, which triggers a bullish signal, which triggers a long-term trend. All these things, they start to feed onto each other, and it's going to become a rocket ship from here on out, and kind of like we saw in the past, except it's not going to have that big drop is what my call is. And that's really why I'm making this video, is to make a call, put it out there, put it on the record, and track it. And you guys can make fun of me if I lose the money, or perhaps you can contribute something as the price continues to run up. So you have those financial factors that are going to continually drive it. You have the core supply and demand premise, this growing demand, $100 million barrels a day, 100 million. it's going to be like 101, 102, 105. We'll see 110 probably. This story is not new with these developing nations and their massive oil demand. It's not a new idea at all, but it's a real idea, and it's transpiring as the years go on. We see that it's coming into play. It's becoming a reality. So, the whole developing nations story is true, and this whole renewable thing is now collapsing. The whole idea of the renewables will help to soften the blow, getting off oil. That's if you look at the stocks of the renewables over the last 5-10 years, they're falling pretty bad. So you have the financial things, you have the alternatives that don't seem to be working out, and then you have the real supply and demand story, the core value of oil. The proof are in the numbers. Look at the demand side. The supply has been fairly adequate now that OPEC has decided to, since they cut their output, it's been pretty decent in terms of the run up. But the problem is that we're at now is that there's a little bit of disagreement with OPEC as far as how much they are willing to put out there, and then you have this internal feud with OPEC and this dysfunctional relationship between the countries. You've got these Iran sanctions going into effect today, actually. You've got Saudi Arabia numbers coming out, which is what I think is one of the biggest things to focus on are the numbers coming out of the major oil-producing countries and the production numbers, their output. If you see anything start to slip below what they are allowed to do based on their OPEC agreements, I think that's a major red flag. And just recently, there was some news about Saudi Arabia not putting out something like 200,000 or 300,000 barrels. It's, decreased production, and to me, that's a major red flag because you're going to see the real price spikes in the next few years when you start getting lower output. The demand is going to be there; it's guaranteed. The demand trend is in place, but the wild card is going to be the production and who's going to come online. And is Venezuela going to get their infrastructure back up and get their oil to the market? What's going to happen there? So the supply shortages are what's going to propel the price of oil farther north. We've learned that the price of oil is very sensitive to news and supply, and any news out of any of these countries is enough to give it a little spike. And we haven't heard any major news. There hasn't been any wars, you know what I mean? Any natural disasters, anything like that, any major OPEC news. There hasn't been anything like that in recent times. Yet the price of oil is still climbing. So once something happens, inevitably it will, it's going to be a catalyst. And like I said before, one event can lead to another reason for a buy, can lead to another financial reason, technical reason, trading reason, hedge reason, fear reason, greed reason, and it just feeds upon itself. So we touch financial, the value oil, the supply situation, and at the end of the day, the world doesn't have enough oil to continue to supply the direction we're going. So eventually it's going to hit the fan. Peak oil is absolutely real. So peak oil is real. I don't know how you could argue the fact that peak oil is real. We're going to hit that point. It's going to happen in the 2020s or maybe 2030, something like that. There'll be diminishing returns going forward because of the price of oil and all that. As it gets higher, it's going to set off recessions and all that. But the price, it's not going to matter to the commodity itself. The commodity itself doesn't care about who's in a recession or who isn't, if it's becoming more and more scarce, the price is still going to go up. It might not go up at a high rate, but it'll still go up. So we're here at around $68 a barrel. The dollar has actually been strengthening. We are in the midst of these trade talks, arguments with China. The dollar has been strengthening, and oil has not plummeted at all. It's been fairly steady, range bound, 66 to 72. And I think from here, what's going to happen is something is going to set it off to around 75. Okay, I think that's going to happen in 2018. The next step is going to be in the 80s. I also think that will happen in 2018. I believe in 2019 is when we see 100 again. And as we get into 2020 to 2025, somewhere along that range, is when I think the price of oil is going to go back to all-time highs, to somewhere in that range. So you're looking at approximately double what the price is today, sometime between 2020 and 2025. And I wanted to put that call on record and redeem my losses that I've incurred over the years. I'm going in with a much higher leverage position, much more capital putting down on this bet, and let's see what happens. I'll continue to talk about more and more reasons why the price of oil is going to go up, and I hope to make some money with you guys using the ETFs UCO and UWT. So hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you're bearish, maybe you're bullish. I look forward to watching the price of oil rise over the next couple of years, but I don't look forward to what it's going to do to our economy. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.